When one thinks of blues music, images of the Mississippi Delta region, Memphis, or Chicago come to mind. However, among musicians, vintage record collectors, and music historians whose specialty is the deep and nearly lost history of recorded American music, the first place that comes to mind is Grafton, Wisconsin, the home of Paramount Records, a company that gave birth in recorded form to the Delta Blues and a label that is known today as, and I quote, America's greatest record label. Welcome to Wisconsinology on Music, a series of 5-minute stories about the Badger State's deep involvement with and importance to the history of American music. Presented by 91.1 The Avenue in partnership with Wisconsinology.com. I'm your host. My name is Frank Anderson. The Paramount record label began as an afterthought. It was a subsidiary of the Wisconsin Chair Company, a furniture manufacturer whose business offices were located in Port Washington, Wisconsin. The label owed its existence to the fact that the Wisconsin Chair Company was in the business of manufacturing phonograph cabinets. The reasoning goes, since we build phonograph cabinets, why not sell records as well? These records, 78 RPM platters, were pressed at the company Furniture Factory, a large building in Grafton located on the banks of the Milwaukee River. They began selling records in 1915, and after several years of trial and error, Paramount found its niche in making records for the African American market. By the mid-1920s, it became a major producer of what were called race records. Paramount developed an amazing roster of artists along the way, performing in various styles from jazz to blues to gospel. These artists would include, at one time or another, Louis Armstrong, Ma Rainey, Jelly Roll Morton, Fats Waller, Charlie Patton, Alberta Hunter, Blind Lemon Jefferson, L.V. Thomas, Son House, Geeshie Wiley, and Skip James, and many, many more. Most of them were brought to the label by a keen-eared talent scout named J. Mayo Williams, and for a while, the label prospered. In 1929, a brand new recording studio had been built at the main factory in Grafton, and Paramount was recording nearly every kind of music rural America had to offer. The next 3 years would be known as Paramount's golden era, and from now on, all roads led to Grafton. Skip James is probably the greatest and certainly the most eccentric of the country blues artists who recorded in Grafton at this time. His influence on music was so profound, it was said that when Robert Johnson went down to the crossroads to sell his soul to the devil, Skip was already there, waiting. I'm So Glad, later a hit song for the ultimate British classic rock trio, Cream. Unfortunately, the artistic triumph of the 1929 to 1932 Grafton recordings coincided with the Great Depression. The world ran out of money, people bought fewer records, and in 1932, Paramount stopped making records. Today, Paramount's recordings appear in films, series, and new recordings all over the world, and collectors still hunt garage and estate sales in the upper Midwest, looking for pristine copies of Paramount recordings. In that spirit, I'll leave you with one of Paramount's last and most wondrous recordings. This is Last Kind Words by Geeshie Wiley.
I want to spend my body, send it to my mother now. If I get killed, please don't bury my soul. I can't just leave me out.
You've been listening to Wisconsinology on Music, brought to you by 91.1 The Avenue and Wisconsinology.com. Until next time, this is Frank Anderson.